Everybody, it's me again. Andy is in Granada, and actually at the Alhambra Palace as well. If I come into this section here, because I have to come out, try and find a sort of decent place to get a nice vista. And this is actually behind me, over that way, is part of the complex. Because this is, for those who haven't been, it's actually an enormous complex. If you've seen the photos, you probably see how it takes up the whole of the hill. And apparently Alhambra means effectively red fort in Arabic. So the main part of it is sort of over that area, which is the Alcazar part of it, and there's Nasrid Palaces. And I'm now in the, I mean, there's other parts to it as well, but they're the most famous places. And I'm now in the gardens, General Ife Gardens, which, as you can see, straddles this whole section. As I said, I've been lucky enough to be here, come here a couple of times before. So the third time I'm visiting, and you know, obviously it's one of the sort of modern wonders of the world, although it was started in the 1200s. So everybody's got to come here, and it is a busy place. I actually walked up here this morning from down in the old town where I'm staying. And that's a hike as well, I can tell you, even at like 9 o'clock in the morning, when it's not quite as hot. It's still quite a little climb up there, and I wouldn't recommend it for certain people. One other thing is that, because there's so many little cobbles and that around here, if it was ever wet, it would half be slippery. But there are buses and that you can get up here anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be worth a visit to come somewhere like this, hasn't it? And say, lucky enough to have been here on more than one occasion. But I can't help comparing it with some of the other places that I've now been lucky enough to go to, like the Alcazar in Seville, and they're quite similar in lots of ways. This is the far bigger area. I mean, the gardens here are pretty huge. But actually, thinking about it, so are the ones in Seville, to be honest, and even the one in Cordoba were pretty impressive. So they all sort of bear visiting. But I mean, this has got sort of certain classic bits. I mean, as I said, the Alcazar, the actual tower over there, and it's the stunning location of where this is as well, up on the hill, as I probably showed you before. You know, with the Sierra Nevada mountains behind it, and also with the and you've got the river valley, because where I was yesterday is on the other side of the river valley, the River Darrow, which cuts through, and it's right, sort of cleft right down through there. And those sort of two areas, the Albertine and this area, are on sort of two separate sides of that little valley. It's not much of a river, but it's well worth a little stroll along it anyway, because it's shaded. So yeah, in some ways, I mean, the Alcazar in Seville is better in some respects, because it's just less crowded. I mean, there's a place here called the Nasrid Palaces, which you have to get a ticket to go into. It's all included, but you get given a time slot, because they only allow like 200 people every half an hour into that particular place. Once you're in there, you can stay there for as long as you like. That's the real old part. That was started in the 1300s, and that's the real Moorish part, with the place with the lions. Oh, you might have seen photos of all that in the fountains and all the Islamic scriptures on the wall and the design and everything, which is pretty amazing. And you know, once again, as I said, I'm a fan of that type of thing, so it's well worth coming to see. But it's in some ways, the Alcazar in Seville, the actual artwork, in some way, I think it's actually better. The tiling especially is better, and just there's not so many people around. Because and if I see another selfie stick, God, I'm in that sort of mood now where I just want to start snapping selfie sticks. You get all these tourists, especially the ones from the Oriental area. That's not, you know, knocking them in any way, but they seem to be the ones that got these selfie sticks, and every single photo has to have them in it. But no, there you go. But yeah, so yes, great. One thing I will relay, actually, I went last night out to something to eat. I found a little place where I had a small meal, and then I was just wandering about, as you do. You know, once again, I've done a lot of walking and having a look around and getting lost and that type of thing. But I found a little bar very close to my hotel. It's more or less literally a stone's throw away from it. And I nearly didn't go in there, because I thought, I mean, it looks it's very local, unpretentious bar, full of Spanish people mainly, some tourists as well. But I thought, no, I'd go in there. They had the football on and that sort of stuff, so I thought I'll go just sit outside. Very welcoming, but the tapas, I mean, I just bought a bar. This is free tapas, by the way. You can buy tapas, but this is free tapas. And what did I get with the first beer? I had a slice of pork with mushrooms in garlic and oil, with some chips and some bread. I thought, well, okay, so I thought I'm going to try this out. So I thought I have another beer. These aren't pints, by the way. These are what they call tubos or canyas, which are quite small beers, about the size of a Coke can, I suppose. It's about a third of a pint, or a third of a litre, should I say. And what did I get for the second one? I got like a bolognese sauce with chunks of beef in it, more bread and more chips. And I'm thinking, Gee, and these were decent portions. I actually watched a British. I think there was 3 of them came in, and I saw them order a couple of drinks, and I thought, I know what's going to happen here. And this woman piled this big plate up between the 3 of them, and they just could not believe it. And it was also very, very good as well, very, very nicely cooked. And the woman behind the bar was quite some character. She was offering me more free tapas, you know, if I wanted it, and asking me what the score was in the football and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so yes, this is my last day of this type of part of the holiday in some ways, the sort of walking around in the sun and sort of visiting all the sites. There are little sites I should be seeing. In fact, another Alcazar, as it happens, in Salabreña, where I'm off to tomorrow. But I should no doubt will check in there. I'm going to have another wander around and get in out of the sun. One thing I will say, there are water fountains all over the place, or drinking water fountains all over the place here. So you're never at a loss for some water, which is exactly what I'm going to go and get now. Anyway, I'll speak to you again some other time, no doubt. Adios.